Hello YouTube, how's everyone doing? It's Professional here. So today I got a crazy current events video for you guys. So if you guys remember those hackers, those guys who had actually hacked into Rockstar Games, they had actually hacked into another learning software called Canvas by Instructure. And these guys you might remember a month ago, these guys had hacked into Rockstar and they had threatened to basically release a bunch of information from Rockstar, and this information actually ironically ended up helping Rockstar. So the information that Shiny Hunters ended up releasing is they ended up releasing information on how much money GTA Online makes, how much money Red Dead Online makes, like gold bars from Red Dead Online, shark cards on GTA Online, GTA Plus, and it just showed that Rockstar was making a ton of money from that. I don't know why they thought that Rockstar would actually pay that ransom. They're stupid for thinking that they would actually pay that. But they ended up releasing the thing, thinking that they were cool, they were tough guys, and it actually ended up backfiring really badly on them because what happened was it just made Take-Two Interactive stock jump because people saw that they were making a ton of money from that, so it just basically destroyed their reputation. So these guys have a history of hacking into a lot of different companies. They hack into companies. They demand an extortion fee. They basically tell the companies that, oh, you gotta pay us this before this date, and if you don't, we're gonna release all of this information, make all of this stuff public, including customer data, and a lot of times companies will panic. In most cases, the companies have actually not paid them, but there has been cases where the companies have actually paid them, but they still ended up releasing the information. And so these guys are not trustworthy at all. Unfortunately, a lot of people, like I said, is that they think that hackers are like some type of vigilante group, sticking it to the man. But these guys have targeted a lot of companies that have done absolutely nothing wrong, and now they're targeting Canvas by Instructure. Shiny Hunter escalates Canvas attacks of school login defacements. I'll link this article down below, but for people that don't know what Canvas is, Canvas by Instructure is a widely used cloud-based learning management system that acts as a digital hub for K-12 schools, universities, and colleges. It allows educators to create online classrooms, manage curriculum, post assignments, grade work, and communicate with students, supporting in-person, hybrid, and remote learning. Key aspects of Canvas for schools: core functionalities. Teachers use Canvas to post course material, organize calendars, host discussions, and create quizzes. Grading and assessment features like Speed Grader allow instructors to grade assignments, annotate documents, and provide feedback. It's designed to be accessible on various devices and includes mobile apps for students and teachers. Canvas integrates well over 1,000 external education tools, and for 2026 serves more than 8,000 institutions globally. And so these hackers now apparently have the data from 8,000 of those schools and institutions. So these guys now have a lot of student data, teacher data, online classrooms, probably exams, a lot of stuff that they had hacked onto this this company's data. So anyways, I'll link this article down below. Days after confirming a major data breach, Instructure is now facing a second blow. Earlier this week, Instructure confirmed a major data breach affecting its cloud-hosted Canvas environment, with the Shiny Hunters group claiming it stole hundreds of millions of records, tied thousands of schools and universities worldwide. As disclosed in our earlier blog, that incident involved data such as student and staff records, enrollment details, and private messages allegedly accessed through Canvas export features and APIs. At that stage, the focus was on large-scale data theft and the long-term risk for affected students and families, including identity fraud and highly targeted phishing. Phishing is basically where they will try to trick somebody into clicking on a link. So basically, they will impersonate somebody else, and then they'll send people like an email asking them to log in, pretending to be somebody else. People think that it's like a respectable institute. So like in this case, they might send people emails, for example, pretending that they are from Canvas and to log in, and people log in and they actually get access to their computers. That's basically what a phishing scam is. But it's, and like I was saying, and I hate repeating myself on this constantly, but it's because I see so many people that they glorify these hackers like online, like they think these hackers are like heroes or something like that. But think about it this way: think about all the students and their families. Their personal data is now exposed, and they could leak this stuff. They could make this stuff public. So they are targeting thousands of students in this, having their data. So again, how are these guys vigilantes? I'd like somebody to explain that to me. According to new reporting, Shiny Hunters has now hit Instructure again, this time moving from quiet data theft to very visible extortion. Using another vulnerability in Instructure systems, the attackers were able to modify Canvas login portals for hundreds of educational institutions, defacing both web logins and Canvas app with an on-screen ransom message. And this is the the message that they had posted here. Let me just zoom in on this here. So, Shiny Hunters, rooting your system since 19. Shiny Hunters has breached Instructure again. Instead of contacting us to resolve it, they ignored us and did some security patches. Warning, if any of the schools in the affected list are interested in preventing the release of their data, please consult with a cyber advisory firm and contact us privately at TOX to negotiate a settlement. You have till the end of the day or by 12th of May 2026 before everything is leaked. Instructure still has until EOD 12th of May 2026 to contact us. Download affected schools text, and then they have links to them. Don't go to these links, guys. Do not go to these links that are in this picture. The message both claimed responsibility for the earlier breach and set a deadline of May 12th for Instructure and affected schools to contact the gang or risk the public release of stolen data. The second wave matters for two reasons. First, it confirms that Shiny Hunter still has meaningful access to Instructure's environment, or at least the components that control the look and behavior of school login pages. Second, it marks a clear escalation in pressure tactics from leaked claims and dark web posts to messages shown directly to students' parents and staff trying to access their courses. How to deal with this data breach for students and families, practical advice from our original blog, reset Canvas related passwords, enable multi-factor authentication where possible, monitor financial and credit activities children get older, stay wary of highly personalized phishing that references real schools, courses, or teachers. For schools and districts, this latest extortion campaign underlines the need to coordinate closely with Instructure, review single sign-on SSO integrations, and prepare clear communications so that any future defacements or data leaks do not catch staff and parents by surprise. So I wanted to say also about these guys, I did mention this in my video about a month ago about these guys, but for example, look at what these guys did. This is in December 2024, they hacked PowerSchool, which is a software that is used by a lot of schools. They demanded $2.85 million, and the company paid the ransom to prevent the release of stolen student teacher data. So PowerSchool paid the money that was demanded of them. And then you see here, half a year after that, in May of 2025, a new extortion emails began hitting individual school districts that were customers of PowerSchool, with outlets reporting attempts to leverage the stolen data from an earlier unrelated PowerSchool breach identified by CrowdStrike. One message shared with databreaches.net demanded payment from North Carolina authorities, though the publication cautioned it could not authenticate the sender's identity. Bleeping Computer likewise reported that someone claimed to be Shiny Hunters with extorting districts customers of PowerSchool, while a person identifying as the group's leader told the outlet the culprit was an affiliate impersonating them. But basically, here's the thing. So Shiny Hunters claimed, oh, we weren't these other people that tried to extort like half a year later. But the question is how did they get access to that data? If these guys were not with Shiny Hunters, like Shiny Hunters was like, oh, that's not us that were trying to extort again, half a year later. How did these guys get this data? What these guys were probably doing, what Shiny Hunters was probably doing, is they were probably selling the data. They probably were selling the data to other criminal groups, other online hacking groups, other criminal groups online, probably selling that to them when this company was in the middle of paying the ransom. And they paid the ransom, and then they still got extorted half a year later. So they paid the money, and they still got extorted. And the thing is about this is the greed of these hackers. Because I will say this, is these guys might be really smart when it comes to hacking, getting into computers, but this is also proof that just because somebody is smart in one thing does not mean that they're smart in another thing. So they might be great with computers, they might be smart with hacking into people's softwares, programs, getting into their email, blah blah blah, this, all of that stuff. But these guys are stupid when it comes to actually talking to people, when it comes to actually making money for their criminal organization. Because when people see that a company paid $2.85 million, because other companies will pay attention to this, they'll see, oh, one company paid you guys $2.85 million. You promised that you'd delete the data, and then you still got extorted half a year later. Nobody is going to pay them after that. Nobody is going to. They're not going to pay them. And these guys also hacked the Legal Aid Agency, which was, it's a government group that basically provides, in the UK, correct me if I'm wrong, that provides lawyers and aid to people that are actually facing trial. And so they hacked that. They actually hacked a government agency as well. So these guys don't just hack, large greedy companies. They will hack anybody for money. And they're threatening to leak the data of thousands of students. And remember when I told you guys that a month ago, that basically this group became a laughing stock. Like, everybody was making fun of them over that, that Rockstar epic fail hack. Like, they thought they had something on Rockstar. They thought they had had big information, and they promised that to Rockstar that they were going to release this unless Rockstar paid them, and then they didn't even keep their word. They actually released all that information one day before the deadline. So they did it one day before the deadline, so it shows you that they weren't even going to keep their word in the first place. Rockstar and Take-Two were smart for not paying them, and all they did was they gave Rockstar and Take-Two a bunch of publicity because Rockstar stock, or Take-Two stock, I should say, shot up through the roof. So for criminal organizations like this, his reputation is very important. They want people to be scared of them. When you see, Shiny Hunters had hacked into you, when you see stuff like that, it's going to make people panic. It's like, oh no, it's these guys. But because they were so greedy and they wanted so much money, and then they got the money, and then they still tried to extort, Power School, half a year later, nobody's going to pay these guys. And what happened with Rockstar? They became a laughingstock. So I think that they are trying desperately to get their reputation back up. I think that they're trying to get people to be scared of them. But, my advice to Canvas on this is don't pay this. Do not pay this. F these guys. That's basically what I say. F these guys. Is don't pay these guys at all. Don't give in to them. You pay these guys, and they're going to keep doing stuff like this. And every company needs to basically put their foot down and say, we're not going to be extorted. We're not going to pay this stuff. Get ready to do damage control if these guys release anything public, because they will release it public. That. So do your best to try to protect the data. Try to protect the students' data. But if they have it, there's no guarantee that these guys are going to delete the data, like they said. Because you saw what happened with Power School. They paid the ransom, and then they still got the data released, and then they got extorted half a year later. So basically that. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think down below. But it's and I know I keep repeating myself on this, but it just pisses me off how people think that these hacking groups are like, they're vigilantes, they're heroes, they're sticking it to the man. What are they doing here? They're hacking a learning software and threatening to release the data of thousands of students and their families. How is that sticking it to the man? So these guys are just criminals. They're thugs. They're thugs behind computers. That's all they basically are. They're criminals, these guys. So don't pay this Canvas. Stand your ground. Don't give in to these guys. I really hope they don't. We got what is it, 4 days until the deadline. It was May 12th. So I guess we'll see what ends up happening. But that's pretty much it for this story here. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think down below. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.